Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of pointless things, where we fly and buy this pointless statue in Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 are the class trainers in World of Warcraft, and I had to put class trainers on the list because it blows my mind that they've gone from such a vital, important role in World of Warcraft to just people that send you to Proving Grounds. Like, that's all they do. They're just like, you want to port to Proving Grounds? Cool. See ya. That's all they do now. But back in the day, they would teach you your spells. They would help you with your talents. They would do, so many things. These were the top of the line teachers of your class, right? Like a warlock trainer was so good at being a warlock or knew so much about being a warlock that they were like, yo, you come to me and I'm going to teach you, right? Like these were the high tier educators of World of Warcraft for classes. And now they may as well just remove them from the game at this point, right? Like they don't really serve any purpose. Like you could have the dungeon queue thing just send you to Proving Grounds. Like who cares? It's embarrassing that these essential NPCs from classic WoW are just worthless now. They're just useless. And so that's got to feel terrible for them, right? You just stand around being like, yeah, I used to be cool. And everyone's like, what do you do again? And you're like, I used to do a lot back in the day. And they're just like, oh, that's cool. Oh, I don't want to go to Proving Grounds. See you later. But that's why class trainers are number 10. 9. Number 9 are the Darkmoon Faire Carnies. And the Darkmoon Faire Carnies typically wander around the Darkmoon Faire carrying a broom and a bucket. So, they're ready for anything that comes their way, I guess. But they got to clean up litter. They got to deal with all the patrons of the fair. They got to deal with the rides and setting those up. And then they got to deal with the animals, especially the basilisk that already froze one of the carnies. He's crystallized. There's the outhouses that somebody's got to go clean. And then there's a bunch of injured carnies as well that have quotes like, this gash doesn't seem to be healing. That's the last time I try to set up the cannon alone, and it hurts to move my arm. And there's also just the fact that nobody really knows that much about the Darkmoon Faire. Like, we don't know how these people are getting paid. We don't even know if they're, real. Like, I made a pointless top 10 about the Darkmoon Faire a while ago, and it was kind of mind-blowing how much shady, weird stuff is going on here, potentially influenced by an old god. So there's a lot of things that are questionable, but either way, shady old god or not, it's still a bad job. So that's why Darkmoon Faire carnies are number 9. 8. Number 8 is Edwards, and Edwards is both a squire and a janitor. So he starts out as a squire to Siouxsie the Banshee. I think it's Siouxsie. I think that's how you say it. And he keeps being like, "My mistress, does your axe need sharpening? Might I brush your mighty steed? Did you need more corpse dust, perhaps?" And she just keeps being like, "Get away from me, Edwards, lest I behead you. And you can leave my sight, squire, before I slay you again." And then he's just like, "Oh, okay." But then, after Legion, he becomes a janitor instead of a squire and says things like, "Oh, more dirt, it's a mirror to my soul," and "More cleaning to be done. This new job is much better. No mistress to boss me around." So really, Edwards went from a really bad job to just a normal bad job. But I thought that was worth making the list, and that's why Edwards is number 8. 7. Number 7 are the portal mages. And portal mages are just standing there 24/7, casting these portals, keeping them open just so you can port around the world. And I don't know if they ever take breaks. I mean, I would imagine server maintenance is their break, right? They're just like, all right, servers are down. They're just like, oh, shit. And they just go out and start smoking cigarettes like, oh, that was a rough week, All right, well, back to it. However, I did see a theory that these are just mirror images because mages can do that. But still, that means you're still using some of your energy nonstop. And I don't know. I don't buy into that theory. I think it would be really cool if Blizzard made it so the mages actually just shut down the portal for 20 minutes a day or something, like how a pharmacy takes a lunch break. They're just like, guys, we'll be back in 20 minutes. Everyone's just freaking out, like, I can't take my portals. I would love that. It'd be so cool. And then we'd fix that problem. Be like, oh, they took their lunch break. They needed it. Now that I think about it, I think in Shadowlands, there's some NPCs that take shifts or turns. I might be crazy, but I think that is a thing. Either way, that's why the portal mages are number 7. 6. Number 6 are the Revendreth elevator gargoyles, and these gargoyles just spend all day winding the elevator all the way up and then letting it all the way back down, and that's all they do, all day, every day. And at first, it was pretty cool, right? When we were playing Shadowlands, like, whoa, this is cool, the gargoyles are in charge of the elevators, but now they're just doing this and nobody's there. Right? There's like a couple people that show up, but like the gargoyles are probably like, oh my God, there's nobody here. Granted, maybe that makes it easier because when you had to wind up the elevator with people on it, that probably is a lot more difficult than if there's nobody on it. But they should be able to take breaks as well, kind of like the portal mages, where if nobody's there and you like get on the elevator, it's like, yo, who's in charge of this elevator? And then the gargoyle's like, oh yeah, sorry. He's like reading his phone, and then he starts winding it up. Also, I don't know what this gargoyle's doing. He's doing it backwards, but you know, good for him. But either way, that's why the elevator gargoyles are number 6. 5. Number 5 are the lazy peons, and the lazy peons had to be on this list. This is one of the most well-known quests in World of Warcraft. Even people that played the game for like an hour in the orc area have done this. And the foreman is like, cursed peons, they work hard gathering lumber from the trees of the valley, but they're always taking naps. I need someone to help keep them in line. And so the foreman gives you his blackjack, which I didn't even know what that was. I legit had to go look it up. And then you got to go around and wake these sleeping peons up. So this feels like this is the worst part. Like you have to do hard manual labor chopping these trees, and then you're like, oh boy, I need to take a nap. And then you go to take a nap, and then people just keep coming up to you and hitting you with this thing. And not once or twice, like this is over and over again. Imagine when a new server opens up and everybody's playing. It's just constant, right? These dudes are probably getting, you know, concussive symptoms. They're just bruised up. Like, think about that. That's gotta suck. And so that's why the lazy peons are number 5. 4. Number 4 are auctioneers, and I didn't really know where to put auctioneers on this list, but I thought number 4 was a pretty good spot because this is a pretty difficult job. Because number 1, you have to stand on your feet all day. It's just you're standing there and you can't sit down, you can't go walk away. It's just you're standing and you got to listen to these people come up to you and just be like, I want to sell this thing. I want to sell this thing. And they're like handing you stuff and you got to take it. And it probably smells because most of the auction houses are just confined to one small room. And you know, there's some tar and there's some weird creatures walking around and they smell, especially if it's been raining outside. And then you have to deal with the people being like, I bid 1 silver. And they're like, I bid 1 silver, 1 copper. I bid 1 silver, 2 copper. And you have to be like, all right, slow down. Okay, you want that? You want that? Okay, and then it's a lot to take in. And so while at first glance it appears that auctioneers might have a pretty decent job, I think it's actually pretty difficult, and that's why they're number 4. 3. Number 3 are the goblins that have been working at Booty Bay since December 7th, 2010, when Cataclysm launched, and that is how long they have done absolutely nothing to Booty Bay. I mean, think about it. They have been working on Booty Bay for almost 14 years now, to the point where we are re-releasing Cataclysm as a classic version, and they are still not done. It is like real life construction where they spend like 20 years on the same road and then they just do it all over again like a year later. It is just, imagine you are working all day and night and you're like, man, I must have made some progress, and you walk away and nothing's happened. Like, are they even doing anything? Like, is this a goblin Groundhog Day where they just work and then they show up the next day and nothing's happened and they're like, oh, I guess I gotta work again. They just do that every day and think it's day one? Like, I don't know what's happening. Is this a scam where like some guys like pretend like you're working, but you're not working, and then they just keep doing it to make money? But even if that's the case, the workers would probably lose their minds after at least like 5 years of doing this. Like, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Or Baron Revelgaz or whoever's in charge of Booty Bay would be like, you know what, this is a scam, shut it down and just leave everything broken. Like, I don't think he would keep paying money for nothing to be happening. It just makes no sense. And that's why it's number 3. 2. Number 2 is anybody working at the Serene Dream Spa in Thaldraszus, especially the Pandaren that's in front of the podium, and she is the spa concierge that has to deal with numerous complaints from the spa patrons. Some of which are, this is the worst, standing in a line and never moving. My rating is 2 stars. Where's my private villa? I was told I would get a private villa. The elementals were mean to me. They should be fired. I demand to speak to the manager this instant. And so I decided to put this one at number 2 because I thought a lot of people watching this would actually resonate with this and, you know, relate to it with real life work experience about dealing with the public. And you feel bad for the spa concierge. She's just like, I strongly encourage you to visit the VIP island as the lower areas are being improved upon. Oh, no, they are definitely not on fire. Please don't spread such rumors. So, you know, she's just doing some damage control, right? And so you feel bad for her. She probably just wants to go home, not deal with anybody, and just relax. And that's why the Serene Dream Spa workers are number 2. 1. And number 1 are the irradiated workers, which are goblins found working in the radioactive rift throughout Area 52 in Netherstorm. And I think a lot of people have forgotten about these guys, but they are literally being radiated on the job. And then to relax, when the work is done, they go to Ravendweir for a magic show, and then to the inn for a drink where they respawn in the doorway. Also, for the amount of radiation there's like people just standing around in normal clothes like these two guys. I don't know what they're doing. But after work, the irradiated worker says, another long day in the trenches over with at last. Maybe the magic show will take away some of the afterglow. And then Ravendweir, the magician, does a variety of tricks ranging from changing his familiar Sagan into a skunk or turning one of the goblins into a block of ice. And then after his magic show, he just says, hey, if you'd be so kind as to bring your non-irradiated currency to tomorrow's performance, I'd appreciate it. And so overall, there's actually a lot of really bad jobs here. Like everybody in the town is getting radiated. The magic show guys got to perform for the irradiated workers. And then the irradiated workers have to actually work in the radiated mines of Netherstorm. So it's a pretty bad place. And that's why it's number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, check out some more Pointless Top 10s. We had Pointless Top 10 Dark Moon Fair stuff that I talked about earlier in the video, or Auctioneers, since we talked about Auctioneers in the video. Also, consider supporting the channel over on patreon.com/Crendor or by becoming a channel member. Okay? Okay. See ya.